Do you know what your cat actually does while you sleep? Most people assume the moment their head hits the pillow and the lights go off, their cat simply curls up somewhere nearby and drifts off too. Maybe at the foot of the bed, maybe in the hallway, maybe on that chair they've secretly claimed as their throne. From our perspective, nighttime feels quiet and uneventful, and we imagine our cats sleeping just like we are, resting peacefully until morning comes. But the truth is a little stranger than that, because once your breathing slows and your eyes close, your cat's world doesn't shut down the way yours does. In fact, for them, the night is when everything begins. Their senses sharpen, their instincts wake up, and the house you think is silent suddenly becomes filled with tiny movements, sounds, and signals that only your cat can detect. While you sleep, your cat moves through this invisible world in ways you almost never see. And some of the things they do during these hours reveal something surprisingly emotional about the bond they have with you. These behaviors aren't random. They're not meaningless quirks. They're tiny nighttime rituals that show how your cat thinks about you, how they protect you, and how they quietly stay connected to you while you're completely unaware. And one of the strangest things they do happens right next to your face. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and felt a soft paw resting on your cheek or tapping your nose? Most people laugh when this happens. They assume their cat is being silly or maybe impatient for breakfast, but there's actually something deeper happening in that moment. Cats are incredibly sensitive to breathing patterns, and when you fall asleep, your breathing slows down and becomes deeper and more rhythmic. To your cat, that change is noticeable immediately. So when they gently touch your face in the middle of the night, they're doing something that looks simple but carries a deeper instinct behind it. They're checking on you. In the wild, cats often live around other animals they trust, and survival depends on paying attention to subtle changes in behavior or health within the group. If another animal suddenly becomes unresponsive or stops moving, that can signal danger. So cats evolved to notice these things quickly. That soft tap on your face is your cat confirming that everything is normal, that you're still breathing, that you're still there. It's almost like a quiet wellness check. And here's the fascinating part. Some animal behavior researchers believe cats may even be able to detect subtle chemical changes in human bodies through scent and proximity. There are documented stories of cats persistently pawing or nudging their owners shortly before medical events, almost as if they sensed something was wrong before the person did. Now, of course, most of the time your cat isn't predicting anything dramatic. They're just making sure the person they trust most in their world is safe. And once they've confirmed that something else begins. But before we get there, I'm curious about something. If you're watching this and you've ever woken up to your cat touching your face or staring directly at you in the middle of the night, let me know in the comments. I always love hearing those little moments people share about their cats, and sometimes the smallest stories reveal the most about how these mysterious little creatures think. Now, here's another strange nighttime habit, and those sudden 3 a.m. zoomies, the ones the house is completely silent, you're deep in sleep, and then suddenly thundering paws down the hallway, a leap onto the bed, a sprint across the room, maybe even a dramatic launch off the furniture before disappearing into another room like a tiny ghost with rocket boosters. It feels chaotic, almost ridiculous, but there's actually a biological reason this happens so often at the exact same time. Cats are crepuscular animals. That means their bodies are naturally wired to be most active during dawn and dusk. These are the hours when their natural prey would normally be out moving around. Even indoor cats who have never hunted anything more than a dust particle still carry this internal clock. So when your cat suddenly races through the house at night, they're not just burning off random energy, they're running a patrol. That sprint down the hallway, a quick territory check, that jump onto the windowsill, a scan of the outside world, that dramatic leap onto the bed, a quick reconnection with you before continuing the route. To them, the house is territory, and you are part of that territory, and they're making sure everything is secure If you're someone who enjoys learning about these hidden cat behaviors, by the way, you might want to subscribe to the channel, not because I'm trying to sell you something, but because if you're anything like me, the more you learn about cats, the more you realize how much is happening beneath the surface of their quiet little lives. All right, now let's talk about something you've probably seen many times without realizing what it means. Kneading. Maybe your cat climbs onto the bed at night and starts pressing their paws into the blanket, left paw, right paw, over and over again like they're baking invisible bread. Most people assume this is just a leftover kitten habit, and that's partly true. When kittens nurse from their mother, they need her belly to stimulate milk flow. That memory of comfort stays with them for life. But when your cat needs your blanket while you're sleeping, there's another layer to it. Cats have scent glands in their paw pads. Every time they press down, they release tiny pheromones onto the surface beneath them. When your cat needs your blanket, your pillow, or the spot right beside you, and they're actually marking that area with their scent. Not in an aggressive territorial way, in a bonding way. They're blending their scent with yours and claiming the space as shared territory. In cat language, it's a quiet statement that says, "This is our place. This is where we belong." And honestly, if you're a cat person, you probably know exactly how special that feels. If this is making you smile because your cat does this every single night, you can drop a little like on the video. I always think it's amazing how these tiny behaviors end up meaning so much to us. Now, here's one that tends to make people a little uneasy. Have you ever woken up and seen your cat sitting upright in the dark, completely still, staring into an empty corner of the room? It's one of those moments that can give you chills. For a split second, your brain wonders if they're seeing something supernatural, something you can't see. But the explanation is actually much more fascinating. Cats experience the world through senses that are far more sensitive than ours. Their eyes contain a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum, which allows them to see clearly in extremely low light. Light that would leave a human staring into total darkness still provides enough information for a cat to see shapes and movement. But vision is only part of the story. Cats can hear frequencies up to around 64,000 hertz, far beyond the human hearing range. Tiny sounds inside your walls, insects moving in the ceiling, subtle vibrations from pipes or electrical systems. These things are invisible and silent to you, but they're incredibly clear to your cat. So when your cat stares into what looks like nothing, they're actually processing information you simply can't perceive. They're listening, tracking, analyzing. They're experiencing a whole layer of the nighttime world that we don't have access to. And finally, there's one more nighttime behavior that almost nobody notices, because it happens when you're deep asleep. Sometimes your cat quietly grooms you. You might wake up with your hair slightly tangled or damp and assume you just moved around during the night, but many cats will gently lick or nibble their owner's hair while they sleep. This behavior is called allo-grooming. In the feline world, grooming another individual is reserved for very close social bonds. Mothers groom their kittens. Bonded cats groom each other. It's a sign of trust and family. When your cat grooms your hair at night, they're extending that same behavior to you. You're not just the person who feeds them, you're part of their group. And there's one final detail that makes this even more touching. After your cat checks on you, after they patrol the house, after they knead the blankets and maybe groom your hair, they sometimes sit quietly beside you and do something incredibly subtle. They slow blink at your sleeping face. Among cats, the slow blink is a powerful signal of trust. Closing their eyes in front of another animal means lowering their guard completely. It's a vulnerable moment that says, "I feel safe with you." And the strange, beautiful thing is, they sometimes do this even when you're asleep, and we'll never see it. No audience, no reward, just a quiet expression of trust in the dark. That's the secret world your cat lives in every night while you sleep. And maybe knowing this makes those quiet little moments during the day feel even more meaningful. And before you go, I genuinely love to know something. When your cat sleeps near you, where do they usually choose to settle? The pillow? The foot of the bed? Or right on top of you, like a tiny, furry paperweight? Tell me in the comments. I read more of those stories than you'd probably expect. And if you enjoy exploring the mysterious little habits that make cats so fascinating, stick around. There's always another secret waiting to be uncovered.